This segment is brought to you by Jigmaster Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. This is the final cast segment with your hosts Brad Hicks and Josh Eldridge, where we cast our final opinions on all products, good and bad. Welcome to the final cast. Welcome back to the final cast on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. I'm Brad.
And I'm Josh.
Tonight we got a cool guest. It's a guest that almost everybody knows because his face is all over social media on the ANGLR app. Derek Horner, how you doing, man?
I'm good, guys. How are you doing? I don't know if everyone knows me. At least not yet. We're trying.
I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that know your face.
Hey, man, I'll take it.
Yeah, man, you're doing a really great job with your. I'm not really into Instagram that much. I mess around with it like a little bit, but for Facebook, man, like Brad said, dude, like at least almost every day, as you know, one of the angler stories pops up, and there you are, man. And it's cool what you guys are doing. Like it's been, you can kind of see the progression. Like, you know, I don't know that if I'm assuming that you guys have kind of pushed to try to push more social media advertisement type stuff this past year, but I don't remember seeing that last year nearly as frequently, if at all.
Yeah, it's a different target and it's a different way we've gone about it. But yeah, I mean, you know, we've only been around for a couple of years now, and the more people start, you know, seeing the brand logo and hearing about the app and seeing the bullseyes and the hats, the more eyeballs kind of keep coming in, and it's as long as we can keep providing them with cool stuff and keep educating them, they're gonna stick around. So I think that's doing a lot right now.
Yeah.
So let's start off with how the app came to be. I've heard about the app probably like 3 or 4 years ago at the Columbus Fishing Expo.
Yep.
And you guys actually had something that went on the rod, I believe, right?
The Angler Tracker.
Yeah. That's the first time I heard about you guys, and that was like 3-4 years ago, maybe.
Yep.
So yeah, let's go on about how the app started, I guess.
Cool. So I wasn't around during those days. I was still in college. Now I was working with Angler as a sponsored college angler at the time, but back then it was Nick and Landon who are our co-founders. And I guess one day they were just out fishing and had an argument at the end of the day sitting around the fire about who caught the most fish, and had this idea of like, I wish there was a way we could track it with like the click of a button or something. Thus,
Nice.
The app kind of was born at that moment and has been molded into something that is so much better than that. But the tracker was kind of the first iteration of what the Bullseye is now. Same idea, 1 click marks a catch, 2 clicks marks a waypoint. It also did cast count, but its downfall really seemed to be, 1, you had to charge it, and 2, it was mounted to the rod, which a lot of anglers didn't really like that. I don't know. I'm in the same boat. I didn't really enjoy mounting anything to my rod. So that was kind of the downfall of it. Now, there was a lot of anglers who also loved the tracker. But, you know, Bullseye came around and tracker kind of went off to the wayside. So with that, you know, iteration, there's been so many changes to the app. Like I said, originally it was all a web-based platform. Then they came out with the app side. And now we barely talk about the web platform at all. It's all, you know, pushing the app and making the app better and better and trying to pull in as much data as possible. And, you know, it's come a long way, and it's been really fun to not only watch the progression, but be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the app's pretty cool. I used it a while back, but I didn't start really using it until you guys released the Bullseye, and that's what really made me like it a lot more. It's simple click. Actually, I'm wearing mine right here.
Oh, I see it.
Simple click and you're good to go. It's awesome. But I was gonna ask you something and it just slipped my mind.
Well, since your question slipped your mind, now when you guys developed it, was the app developed first or the device developed first?
The app.
The app was. And
Yeah.
then, so you guys tied in Tracker with it. And what made you decide to switch over to the Bullseye?
So we had a lot of people complaining about the two things that I mentioned: charging
Okay.
the tracker and having to mount it to your rod.
Mhm.
And we kind of ran across the idea of like, what if it was something that you could literally clip, stick, or hang anywhere?
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean, that's really, we started asking that question, and then it just kind of made sense. It's really, I mean, it's a perfect product market, right? Like, it. Anyone who sees this asks.
Mhm.
Anyone who sees it clipped to a PFD right here asks. You can clip it to the edge of your graph. People clip it on their steering wheels of their boats. Like, people clip these things and stick them everywhere, and
Yeah.
it's just so much nicer and easier to use, and it's quite frankly less cumbersome than the tracker. I don't have to, when I go fishing now, if I'm going on a trip like I just did, I'd take the Bullseye on my hat that I always wear, and that's it, instead of packing the charger. And if you forget the charger, then what do you do? Like, it just makes life so much easier. So that was kind of how it came to be. It was a lot of people kind of came to us with those two issues that they keep running into, and this was our solution.
Is anybody still using the tracker at all?
I can't say no. There are some diehard tracker people out there. They are few and far between.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to kind of go over like how the device and the app work, we'll get into kind of like the specifics of all the data that it captures. But I kind of have an interest for those who kind of wonder like what it is that between the communication between the Bullseye itself and the app and how it works to capture that data. Because like, most people know it'll capture like weather data, GPS data. So it's, like I've always kind of been like, it's pretty cool that, that you're just touching a switch basically,
Yep.
and it communicates with the app. And obviously it's probably the app that gathers the data then at that point, right?
Yeah. So I'm actually glad you asked that question, because it is something that we're still trying to clear up ever since Bullseye kind of came out. You can't just go fishing with the Bullseye. You have to have your phone. The app is the real powerhouse. If I was able to build in all of the data capturing thing into this, I don't know what we would be really, really farther along. But I don't think anything exists that is that small that can do weather, water, data, all the stuff that you guys are going to talk about later. So basically what it is, if you think about it, it's a very similar to a garage door switch. It's a Bluetooth button. It Bluetooth connects inside the app. And from there, it had 1 click marks a catch, 2 clicks marks a waypoint, a press and hold marks a gear change. And basically, it really is that simple. But on the back end of it, like, it Bluetooth connects directly to the app. And as long as you're within 30 feet of your phone, when you click it, your app basically gets a back end push that says, hey, the Bullseye just got clicked. And it marks your exact location, pulls in all the data. And it's all private, which is my favorite part. Honestly, why I actually work for the company, because I don't think I would if it was all public data, quite frankly.
Yeah. I know a lot of people ask that question, like, when you add a friend, do they see where you're fishing and stuff? I'm like, no, not at all.
No, you just get to see how often they fish and what badges they've earned.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I don't think many people know about the adding the friends thing either. So if you if you got a Bullseye out there, man, add your friends. Ask them for their friend code.
Yeah, so the adding friends, I think we launched, I don't know, 2 months ago now, 2.5 months ago. And it's just something like, it's a fun way to involve your buddies. Like I talk crap on my buddies all the time that don't go fishing as much as I do, and I'm like, dude, you only went once. It's May. What are you doing? And it's a fun way to kind of bring somewhat of a social aspect to the app without doing any of the Facebook for fishing crap that we see all the time.
Yeah.
Now, let's go ahead and go into the specifics of the app itself. Basically, like, what's the data that's being captured, and what you think is the biggest benefits for an angler, because it's like what Brad touched on too. Is I've talked to a lot of people like that too, and they're like, well, I don't want my fishing spots, my honey holes, to be GPS marked for other people to, see. We already cleared that up, that, it's all private. Nobody sees it unless you show it to them, and, but I've just had to explain it. And they're like, well, still, somebody's in that app. And I'm like, yeah, maybe there is somebody that is working on the app itself that might have access to that data, but I highly doubt they want to come to Ohio and fish a river spot, bro. Like, it's just, but watch, it's Brad. Brad's back there like on the app, like, I know where all the spots are.
I wish.
Only reason Brad's been catching fish this year. Did you get a job at Angler and not tell anybody, dude?
I wish.
He's been catching big, man. He's been catching those giant smallmouth. I haven't seen.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's go over, like what kind of data does it capture, and what you think is the biggest benefits for anglers.
Sure. So to kind of start off, it captures basically. Let's go over a catch first. So every time you click the bullseye or you mark it in the app by itself, if you don't have bullseye yet, it immediately captures your exact lat and long GPS location out to 9 points past the decimal. So it's, incredibly accurate. Real quick, I want to touch on the Waypoints Privacy. It is all private. You can share stuff, though.
Okay.
So, like, today I had a buddy who's still up at the St. Lawrence River where I just came from. I was like, hey, where'd you catch all this big fish? And I shared my trip with him and said, don't fish exactly here, but now you can learn what I was doing.
That's cool.
Side note, obviously. So back to exact GPS location, weather conditions. We're pulling in based off your local weather channels, things like that. That's barometric pressure. That's wind speed. That's wind direction, cloud coverage, moon phase, all the different weather conditions that anglers care about that we have all seen affect fish. Whether it's how they're acting, whether it's what baits are going to work, we all know the weather conditions can play a big role. Especially kayak guys. I know, if it's windy, y'all got to kind of plan differently, man.
It sucks.
Yeah, you guys got to plan way differently. So being able to look back on that data is incredibly important. Water data is also pulled in. Only if you connect your, USGS buoy in your area and it is reporting that data, which is something I do want to kind of talk about. I do have some trips, and I know other anglers do too, where they say like, hey, my water data didn't populate. And basically, we rely heavily on USGS, as that is a publicly sourced water information provider. And if they are not publicly reporting the water temperature or the flow speed for that certain day, we can't.
Yeah.
We can't.
I know there's spots in our area on the river that they don't record water temperature stuff like that at all. They'll just record the level in the CFS.
Now, what's a really fun workaround for that is right before the Bassmaster Classic, we teamed up with Lowrance. And you can now connect to any Lowrance unit that has Wi-Fi. So you can mark a catch with your bullseye that goes directly to your app and to your Lowrance unit, which then allows us to pull in that water data from your transducer instead. So there is a nice workaround there if you keep running into that issue.
I might have to switch to Lowrance now.
That's
awesome.
So those are the three main areas, right? Location, weather, and water. It also pulls in gear, so you can enter your gear data, rod and reel combos, your favorite baits. You can, as I said, you can do gear changes to basically associate each catch with everything that went into catching that fish. And that's really where the data can really compile and help you learn a ton. And if I had to pick which one was the most important, I think for a beginning angler, seeing how barometric pressure affects fish is a really, really big key. But also being able to look at the gear you used with certain weather and water conditions and being able to kind of put a little like memory bank card in the back of your head. An example I'll use is I had a tournament a couple of years ago up on a lake in New York, and I could not get bit on topwater until like noon that day, and then another bite at like 3, but they were like 5-pounders, and I couldn't figure out how to replicate it. And I look back at my data, saw that there was cloud coverage at noon and 3 when I decided to throw it, and replicated that in the tournament and ended up doing really, really well that day. So being able to look at what baits and what conditions can really change your next outing or the next time that you have conditions similar. Figure out what baits you like in muddy water when it's raining, and next time you're going to go fish in muddy water when it's raining, you'll already be a step ahead of where you were last time.
Yeah. And what's cool too is you mentioned the gear change, and like you can be tracking like your trip and decide you're going to switch what you're throwing on the move. Like say you're pedaling or you're on a boat or whatever, and you're going from point A to point B to a different spot. You can actually click that you're switching gear, and it marks that you've switched gear like on your trip log.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. Did you know that, Brad?
It does.
Yeah.
You don't have to go in right then and there, because I hear this all the time. Like, I don't want to be on my phone while I'm fishing, which is another big thing with Bullseye, right?
Yeah.
You can go in after the trip and click in the trip details page, click on that gear change waypoint and add what gear you ended up switching to, and it'll backfill any catches from there and add that gear to it. So that way you don't have to be on the water writing down like, well, I picked up a spinnerbait here, and then 5 minutes later I picked up a chatterbait, and then 5 minutes later I picked up a jig. You can just mark that gear change and kind of make a little mental note and go back in after the trip and edit all of those.
I knew that. I knew you guys had that feature, but what exactly do you have to do with the button to change
It's
it?
a 3-second hold. So just
3-second
press
hold.
1, 2, 3, and it'll. If you have noise on your phone, it'll go ding ding instead of just one ding.
Oh, okay. I
Double.
didn't know that. I'm gonna have to remember that because I always do it manually when I'm on the water. Like
Okay.
I'll log my catch and then I'll edit it.
I got you. You
That's
can
a
always
lot
go
easier.
back in afterwards. And, I think another really big feature to the app that a lot of anglers are finding out about, but I want to touch on, is backtrack. So I know, Josh, I think you just started using the app, a couple months ago?
Yeah.
You've been fishing for how many years now?
7.
7 years. And you have all sorts of fishing photos on your phone.
Yeah.
Have you used Backtrack yet? You can turn all of those fishing photos into trips in the ANGLR app.
Huh. I
Oh,
didn't know
from
that.
where your like geotags on the pictures are.
Yep.
See, there's one bad thing now. I I'm one of those guys. I guess somebody's gonna figure out where I'm at, so I remove or I'll take my geotags off unless it's a tournament.
Okay, I got you.
know. So
Yeah, so, I mean, if anyone out there has a ton of fishing photos they want to turn into waypoints in their private app, or, take those pictures and turn them into trips, in the logbook section, you click on the plus button in the top right and allow access to your photos, and it scans it automatically for you and pulls those in.
that's crazy, man. That's a lot of data.
Yeah.
I know.
This is gonna be going through my phone like this is gonna take a while. Like you got a few minutes. But I guess another question along that, is it able to read the timestamp and be able to pull the weather data from that day at that time?
It is.
Heck yeah.
Are you serious?
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's super cool, man.
Wow.
I'm not going to claim that. I am on the marketing side of things. I don't know jack squat about coding. So I got to give my code guys, my team, my software developers, round of applause on that one. When they came out with it and I tried it, in testing phase, I broke it a lot because I have over 10,000 pictures of fish on my phone. So I broke it a lot. And then finally it worked and we got to see the results and it was like, whoa.
That's
That's
really
awesome.
cool.
But
Man, so where do they pull that weather data from? Do you know?
it's all
I mean-
publicly sourced and it's just backfilled. It lives out there. In the
Yeah,
crazy.
dude. It's just like, Brad, when you took that weird picture of yourself that it went away, it doesn't, dude.
Yeah.
There's a little seed of it somewhere in the internet. And that popsicle picture? You remember that picture?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there's a seed of that in the internet somewhere.
that's in the government archives. They're watching me now.
There's worse things out there.
Right.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Heck yeah, man. That's pretty impressive that, that you guys have designed an app that can, literally pull that data. I mean, it's one thing, the geotags, I could see that being easy because, that latitude and longitude exists already on the picture itself.
Right.
But to be able to go through and filter through just using a date and go through however many days of weather data there is, and that's a pretty neat thing. I mean, even though it's overall, it's probably not really super hard, but the fact that it can do it and do it with that many pictures, like you said, you broke it several times because you had 10,000 fish pictures, which most of us do. I mean, I have like 7 pictures of one fish, so
Same here.
so okay, so say you do have 7 pictures of one fish and you haven't deleted it. When it goes to backtrack, is it able to figure out that that's just a duplicate picture, or is it marking several times in that same latitude and longitude?
It does know that it is a so we put a time like barrier on it. So like if it's within 2 minutes of each other, now obviously it's possible that you were sitting there catching them. So like there's pros and cons to that, but yeah, a lot of people have 2, 3, 4 pictures of like a 5-pounder, myself included. So there's like a little bit of a time space there where like if they were taken boom, 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 pick one and go. And if you like a different picture better, you can go in and edit that waypoint after the fact.
Cool.
So something else that's really cool with the app that we introduced about a month and a half ago is challenges. I don't know if you guys have.
Yeah, we were going to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Brad, look at it, dude. He's smiling like
I love those things.
He
man.
loves
They're awesome.
them, dude.
I knocked out like 5 of them on Saturday.
They're a ton of fun.
Yep. Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit. How did that come to be, and what is it exactly?
Okay, so how it came to be, I mean, I think without like talking about it forever, I personally, as the marketing guy, wanted a way to give our users something fun and like a way to engage them in the app. And again, because it's not a social fishing app, it's not a social media thing, it's very difficult outside of like the occasional push notification like, hey, have you looked at your trip details recently? Like it was kind of tough to engage people from the outside. And we work with a ton of great companies that always want to try to do like an Instagram giveaway. And I've kind of gotten to the point in my life on social where like I know Instagram giveaways do something, but usually it's not a long lasting thing. It's just kind of like they followed you because it was part of the rules and like off they go.
Yeah.
This has more staying power, right? Like if, for example, we'll use Abu Garcia chooses to do a challenge where they're going to give away a virtual rod. It's as easy as, someone who's never heard of Angler sees this post that they can win a virtual rod by catching and logging, let's call it 10 fish in the app. Well, it's a free app, so if you're going to go fishing and you think you'll catch 10 fish, be stupid not to enter.
Yeah.
And to see and experience how epic the app really is. And, I mean, then you got, a good user who understands the app and is enjoying it, and then they see there's 15 other challenges in there, and then they're like Brad and can't get enough.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that. Shout out to Bailey at Serious Angler. I saw he has a challenge coming up.
He does.
And, funny thing
what's his challenge?
It's like 30 fish between June 22nd and July 17th.
You're on the ball.
Yeah. Well, I have that burning in my head now because last weekend I thought it already started.
Oh, okay.
I caught 26 Saturday. I was like, sweet, I got a good start on this. Come to find out, it didn't even start yet. I'm like, oh, come on. But it's cool. I mean, so is that like challenges? Is that something like anybody could reach out to you and create one, or how does that work?
Yeah, no. So right now, I'm actually in the middle of an outreach period, is what I'm calling it, where I'm kind of bouncing out to companies I don't have relationships with. Obviously, the ones that I do have relationships with, it's a lot easier to get those set up. Super easy, super fun to set up for me and for them. Basically it's pick a title, pick how many catches they're going to need, when do you want to run it, what are some prizes they can win, and it's really that easy. We handle it all on the back end, and again, shout out to my dev guys. They've made it super easy for me to stand up. It's like basically posting on Facebook. You go in, enter the information, click publish, open the app, and it's there. So it's super easy. It's super fun. I know I'm talking to you guys a little bit about getting your own going, so we'll give a little bit of a hint drop.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there's a paddle and fin one in the works, hopefully.
Do you live under a rock, Brad?
What's that?
You're not allowed to enter it either, dude.
Why not?
He can enter. He just can't win, right?
No, I don't want him to enter. Because it's just like every day, it'll be like, ding, pictures of Brad with a fish, and he'll just like the word ding written across it.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I like it too. Don't get me wrong. I love the app. I can't stand though when I'm at work and Brad's sending me giant smallmouth pictures with ding written across them. I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous right now, man.
I hear that.
I mean, he's been sending us videos every time he's going upriver using his Torpedo, and he's just kicked back with his legs crossed. He's like, "It's so awesome!" And then at the video ends, like, it's like daily.
I'm a nerd.
Well, I mean, Josh, you're getting kind of a feeling of what it's like to, run our Instagram channel. Not only Brad doing that every day, but like 30 people in an hour are just like, check out this big fish I just caught. And I'm sitting there typing behind a computer like,
That's awesome.
It is nice right now.
Yeah.
I had a question about the challenges. Are you guys to a point to where like a company could say catch so many fish but only use this bait?
We are getting there. So right now we're in what I call Challenges V1. We are working on a Challenges V2 where we're going to get more specific. So basically, again, what's really cool about ANGLR, as you guys even said, since you got it, Josh, like it's changed so much. We are constantly iterating the app and making it better. And that'll be a fun thing with challenges that I'm really looking forward to, is being able to dial in an exact bait where you have to have that logged in your gear and you have to have it on those catches, otherwise it doesn't count. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think you guys should make it like where the actual, like a photo of the fish has to like
The
be
bait
in its
in the
mouth.
mouth.
Yeah, dude, that'd be awesome.
I don't
That would
hate
be
that.
cool.
I don't hate that at all.
That's
Because
cool.
I mean, it's not really been. Is it specific as far as, you guys got anything specific as far as like size or weights or anything like that?
We
It's
have
just
not
fish
done
catches?
anything specific yet, just catches.
I
Now,
would say don't mix the lure one with, like, if you guys decide to go towards like weight or lengths.
right.
Only reason why I say that is because I think you'll start getting people trying to cheat with it, because I mean, you're gonna usually take that hook out by then, to measure or weigh a fish. So, but I think both avenues are kind of cool. Like to see you guys explore with that.
Yeah, and I mean, there is some. So I have heard people ask about that kind of stuff because of privacy reasons, we can't publish who wins challenges. Usually I ask them to post their prizes that they get on social media so I can share it, and that's kind of the proof of concept that we're going for there. But we do have a way to check for anyone who's thinking about cheating. We know whether you're on the water or at the water's edge, or if you're sitting on your couch at home. We're not manually looking at that, but we know.
Yeah.
And we have a way to say, like, that probably isn't a real catch and it won't count.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Brian. So that smallmouth you have in that tank in the corner of that room doesn't count, dude. Stop
Dang
catching it.
Stop cheating, Brad.
Did you see the one I caught today?
Yes, I did, dude. Show him the
Josh
video.
mad,
Show him the stupid videos. I don't even care about the fish catches. That's awesome. I'm glad he's out there catching fish. It's this.
That's awesome.
That's what I deal with.
I sent that to the Paddle and Fin group today. One of the other guys was like, "Damn you, Torquedo guys."
I've seen a lot of stuff. Here, you know what? I'm sitting here. I might as well break it out. So one of the challenges right now is the 108 degrees challenge, and one of the prizes is some Torquedo stuff. Now I gotta hide the bottom, but we got Torquedo stickers, hats, lanyards, and an ultralight or travel motor coupon.
Nice.
Wow, that's awesome.
Heck
So,
What else are you guys giving away for that 108 degrees?
oh my gosh! All right, you ready? Fire round. Westbrook Supply Co. is giving away 3 $50 gift cards. Torquedo's giving away 3 packages of what I just mentioned. There's a Jackson Kayak Big Rig that's being given away. AFTCO is giving away 3 something amount of prizes. Maybe $50 worth of AFTCO gear. 3 sets of it.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Anderson is giving away a fishing trip with him, and the winner of that fishing trip also wins a bona fide SS 107.
Okay.
And then there's a bunch of other stuff that I could sit here for the next hour and tell you about all the prizes. But
yeah, that's awesome. And all you got to do is catch 8 fish for the whole summer, something like that.
No, so it was supposed to end the 21st, and I had some younger kids that just found out about it through Tyler posting about it that reached out like, hey man, is there any way I can get an extra few days? So I said, you know what, screw it. You guys get 2 weeks. So it ends July 5th, maybe. So
yep, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that one's really fun. I'm excited for that one. That Jackson Kayak Big Rig, I'm kind of sad it's currently in my yard. I've been cleaning it and washing it and treating it very nice, and now I have to give it away. Super stable. Wow.
Yeah. It's a nice boat.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to be in the FD version of it, and it's a super stable boat. It's a little tough to turn, but I mean, most pedal drives are, besides the 360 from Hobie, but dude, I went out St. Clair with it and got in the wish wash, kind of close to the bank when the pleasure boaters got out. And it sucks. I actually have like an issue with like seasickness, vertigo kind of issues because of my I'll get like fluid shift, like especially when I'm on a boat.
Okay.
And it sucks being a kayak fisherman and dealing with that. But that's been one of that kayak specifically has been the one that I've been able to deal with it the best, because it's so wide and stable. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was still dropping Dramamine like candy throughout the day, but I made it through it. I thought I was gonna probably get sick that night because I've had it so bad where it's affected me for like 3 or 4 days after a fishing trip. But those things are super stable, man. You'd be surprised like how even with some chop you can stand up in it fairly easily and absorb it pretty well in the knees. So
yeah, man. I mean, it is probably almost as wide as the front deck of my Ranger. I mean, it is huge.
Yeah.
I think this one's the HDFD or FDHD.
Yeah.
Big rig.
They're awesome, man. But all right. So I want to get back into the app. We talked about the challenges. We talked about the data gathering. One of the things that I've like when we talk about the Angler app itself, I've been trying to push when I do post through Paddle and Fin about Angler is the actual like social media platform that exists within the Angler app itself. It's huge, and it's filled with tons and tons and tons of good information. Like people don't kind of realize that, like how much actually that the app offers besides just logging your catches and your trips and that sort of thing. It's like,
right.
And I think it's starting to come around, and I think your guys' work with the challenges is kind of bringing people in to be like, wow, there's like, this is like a Facebook within itself. Like, it's like you've got people publishing articles in it that are, specific to like a technique or, a body of water or this or that. It's like a whole library of information. It's pretty awesome. You want to care to elaborate, like kind of how you guys got that started and some of the highlights of it?
Sure. So, you're talking about the feed, which is part of that Explore tab where challenges can be found. And, obviously Paddle and Fin is featured as some of the podcasts that we show in there. There's articles, like you said, from, Shea Baker, Mike Cheatham, tons of other authors out there. Those are my two main guys that write for me, and I tell them what to do, so I'm going to give them a shout out. They've been writing for me now for 2 years, 2.5, 2. Right around, at one point we were publishing 5 articles a week. So like there is a plethora of fishing information in there, be it kayak fishing, bass fishing, saltwater fishing. The main ones are kayak and bass, obviously, but there's fly fishing information in there. There's all sorts of stuff that you can kind of weed through. And then there's influencer videos. So all of the stuff that you kind of scroll through looking for while you're scrolling between political posts on Facebook, trying to find a good fishing video. We have it all in a list of fishing videos, no politician stuff here. And then podcasts, there's probably days and days of podcasts in there with just Paddle and Fin alone, but Serious Angler podcast, Alex Rudd's podcast, Bass Fishing Dad's podcast. So, yeah, there's a ton of information to be learned in that content feed area. And we update it twice a week. And usually I put up some Instagram stories talking about those updates and kind of what's in there. I know I kind of lacked a little bit recently. I've been running around like a chick with my head cut off. But, yeah, there's a ton in there.
Yeah, I saw that you guys had the search function on the feed page too. So if you guys want to go back and look through some of these videos, the articles and stuff like that, you can't find it right off the first page, you can type in Paddle and Fin.
You scroll down past where it says like page 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. There is a search bar. So if you're looking for kayak articles, it's just like a Google search. Type kayak. It'll bring up all of our articles that we have in there that have to do with the term kayak.
Sam writes articles for you too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you type in his name,
you'll have an author profile pop up. You can click his name, see all the articles he's written.
Very cool. Heck yeah. So if you guys don't want to mess with Facebook, you want some fishing information, download the ANGLR app.
I'll take you over here.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a cool feature. I don't think a lot of people kind of realize that there was that much behind it. And I mean, I was surprised when I found out too. Like I remember when I first got Bullseye and I was talking to Sam about it, and I was like, there's so many people that are like kind of like old school that still want to just write, handwrite this stuff down,
Yeah.
I haven't. I've never ever logged any data in regards to my fishing trips prior to having it. I just didn't want to write it out, man. I hated to sit down and try to like remember that stuff. And I didn't want to carry a notepad and, around with me with a pen and write it down at that point. Cause usually, I mean, when I first started fishing, I was on foot, I was wade fishing. And the last thing I want to do is, be in the river, sitting there writing this stuff down. I want to keep moving, keep casting, so, and then for me, I have a great memory. It's just to sit back and be like, all right, let me go ahead and try to gather up all the information from today. I just didn't have the time,
Right.
And it's cool that you guys have made that possibility for people like me that needed to be streamlined and as quick as possible,
Yeah, man, it's really cool. My hat goes off to all the old school people who still write all that down. I'm in the same boat as you. Way too much for me, man.
Yeah.
And even if you do write it down, you're still going to be missing out on just the straight line of data that we're constantly providing. Like one of my favorite things that, I ended up turning a guy, and he's one of our, most active users because he fishes all the time. He's a guide. I met him at a show, and he was like, hey, man, I write all this down. I don't need you guys to do this for me. And I said, okay, cool. When was the last time, a client caught a fish? He's like, I don't know, like 1 o'clock last Tuesday. It's like, all right, sweet. What was the barometric pressure? I don't know. Did you write it down? I don't think so. No, there you go.
Yeah.
You would have marked. You could tell me right now. And that was kind of the tipping point for him, where he was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. And, it's been 1.5 years since I had that conversation with him. And I think if I took it away from him, he might come hurt me.
Not to mention, you don't have the backtrack function with the notepad.
Right. I'm sure that he probably wishes there was some sort of feature where you could take a picture of his notepad, because he sent me pictures and he's got shelves of like 3-ring binders of notes. And it's like, dude, when are you ever going to look through that?
Josh, that reminds me of Steve Coomer.
Yeah.
I think he has a bunch of stuff like that. And I actually did try to write my own stuff like 5 or 6 years ago. I gave up.
It's hard to do, man. It's hard to sit down and, because not only that, but you're going to sit there and try to remember exactly where you were. And then like gather the weather information, and it's just like, before you know it, you're like, dude, that's taken me like an hour and a half to just write down this information to make it specific, to make it, as useful as possible to really see. And then the hard part, in my opinion, about it is to be able to go through and read handwritten notes to be able to apply later on, like, you know what I mean? Like to see a trend. I think with
my chicken scratch.
Yeah, I have awful handwriting, but like it's like that app, you're able to get the information at the drop of a dime, not sit there and try to go back and be like, oh, okay, well, let me go review what year was that, and what day was that? Was that June 14th? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just the data it's captured quickly. It's available quickly also. You know what I mean? And that's a really nice feature about it.
Oh, I just thought of something cool.
What's that?
You guys need like some kind of memories feature to where like something that happened today, last year pops up. Like
that would be cool.
That would be sweet.
Like Facebook does, and I'm like, oh,
yes.
God, shut up, Facebook. I don't
like you caught a fish.
My 1 year friend anniversary with Brad. Yay. Like
it'd be cool. Like that would be cool to like compare,
Yeah.
If you caught a fish this day last year.
Yeah. I mean, and I've been logging trips now for 4 years. And like you're saying, you start compounding that data. And as far as time of year goes, you can go back and look. And I wish that I had been doing this since I started fishing. And I'm not that old, but like, there are trips that I think back on that, like, man, I have no idea what I'm throwing. I have no idea what the weather was like. I just know I caught a giant. Like,
Yep.
I'd love to replicate it, man.
So, do you guys have anything in the works in regards to like any kind of other devices?
There's a Bullseye V2, and it is in the works. That's about all I can say about it. It'll be better than the current Bullseye, in many ways.
Nice.
It's like, and that's it. Just better in a lot of ways, guys.
It's gonna be better than the current one. The issues that we have found with the current one will be resolved with the new one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Now I don't have a timeline on that, but yeah, I mean, there's two big issues that I think kind of, if you use the current Bullseye, you might run into, and we are going to fix those with a Bullseye V2.
What do you think are the two biggest issues that you guys have?
Personally, the fact that it's not waterproof hurts. I'll be the first to openly admit I have fried my fair share of these things. I forget when I'm in the rain and it's heavy rain to do the way Brad has it, where you flip it. I usually just leave it there, and that leads me to, that point. It's not waterproof. It is water resistant, which is helpful in, a drizzle or if you get splashed, real quick. There's been some success stories of where someone has dropped it in the water and then picked it up and it works, which is mind-boggling because I know people who said, like, it was on my counter and I spilled water and it busted. So that's an issue that we plan on resolving. And then number 2, believe it or not, 2-year battery life to some people isn't enough. So replaceable batteries.
Nice.
So that way you don't have to, reach out to us and say, hey, it made it a year and 8 months, which can happen, or reach out to us and, buy a new one because it made it 2 years and a month and you need another one bad. So those are the 2 big issues in my personal opinion.
Yeah. And by the way, everybody who's got one, and they're not expensive, they're relatively cheap to buy. So, like, if you have an issue with it, don't complain about the battery not, lasting 2 years. Just go out and buy another one. Hit
me up. I love talking to people, dude.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning and I don't know why y'all choose to email me at like 2 a.m. This is to all the users. Like, I'll wake up to like 16 emails from users and have this big grin on my face because it's like, we're gonna do some educating today.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's crazy.
But so I wasn't aware that there was that much of an issue in regards to like not that there's that much issue. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. That there was like an issue in regards to it being waterproof or whatever. I never even really thought about that. I'm glad you brought that up because I wear mine on the outside also a lot. And
I mean, it's very water resistant. Like, don't get me wrong. The only time I fried 2 of them, and it was both a torrential downpour, and realistically, the one day I actually had to get a new phone, and my phone was in my pocket, and I had rain gear on, and I got that wet. Like it.
Wow.
The Bullseye wasn't going to survive. It was basically like being submerged for 8 hours while I fished. And the other one was my original one that lasted me 2 years and 2 months, and I was super sad because I totally didn't think about it, and it torrential downpoured for like an hour. And I went to click it and was like, no. So I think the rain killed it, but then again, it lasted 2 months past it's how long it should have. So
yeah,
glad we touched on that. That was one of my questions.
Yep.
I had a couple questions about the gear tab here.
Sure.
We did not cover that.
Yeah, let's dive in on gear. I'm open to that.
Yeah, so are you guys constantly adding like new gear or like custom lure makers or anything?
So customs are a little more difficult unless they sell on a site somewhere that has SKUs.
Mm-hmm.
Customs are difficult to put in. However, we are currently, like, probably once a week we go in and add any requests. So like recently, I know 6 Cents came out with a new bait, and I got a request, so I put that in the document, like, hey, new bait from these guys, we need to get it in there. So yes and no to your question. Now you can add, hear me out, you can add custom lures. It's just a little more manual of a process. Because you can go into the gear section, click my gear, click the plus button, add a lure, and then whenever it asks for brand, you can put other and type in the brand. And then brand color, brand name, weight. You can just basically make a custom bait yourself, add a picture of it. So that is an option. But yeah, as far as, your I'm going to call them your name brands. We're pretty resilient on making sure we have everything up to date. Obviously, it's not easy. There is a crap ton of products out there. So, kind of agree with what you said and what Josh said. If you have an issue, please don't get mad at me. Just let me know and I'll fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Derek's not there, you guys, ruining your devices on purpose.
I'm trying not to.
So if a
pushing rain clouds above everybody. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
if a
Only on
company
Tuesday.
wanted to come to you and say, "Hey, can you add my baits on there?" You could do that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool.
You know, obviously, as I said, we need SKUs. We need there's some back end things there that we do require. But yeah, if a company like, is on Tackle Warehouse and you don't see them on Angler and you say, hey, why are you guys not on Angler? And they reach out to us, there's a really easy process to getting them added. Yeah, and what's really cool about gear right now is we've partnered up with some awesome companies to provide anglers that log gear from that company a chance to unlock even more features of the app, basically, is the way to look at it. So I'm going to use 13 Fishing as an example. If you own any 13 Fishing products and you go into the Angler app and log that gear, you automatically unlock exclusive 13 Fishing badges, which you can earn on the water, and you unlock a reward from 13 Fishing that's delivered directly to your email upon logging that gear.
Yeah, I was using my 13 fishing rod, logged a fish, and then Fluke Master popped up.
Yep.
I was just like, sweet.
Yep. Fluke Master pops up, says, hey, nice job. Something
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact clip, but yeah, and I mean, it's not just 13 Fishing. We do it with some kayak companies as well, a New Canoe, Lightning, Vibe. We're hoping to add some more to that here soon. Bagley Baits is another bait company. Monster Bass is now available in the Angler app, so if you buy your box through the app, that unlocks the rewards and the badges. So we're currently working on adding more and more companies to that list to give you guys kind of a customized experience based on your choices, because, as fishermen, we can all agree that you choose what your favorites are, right? Favorite brands, favorite gear.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be rewarded by that company, and it's really cool to get an email after you catch your 50th fish on, let's call it the Omen Fate or Omen Black 13 Fishing rod, and 13 Fishing sends you an email through Angler that says, hey, congratulations on your 50th fish. Here's let's call it a 10% off discount code to get your next Omen.
Nice.
It's a really fun thing for users to experience, and it's cool for the companies too, because right now there's, it's kind of a cutting edge way for those companies to interact with people who purchase their products.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you build relationships then at that point, like they keep it going. It's not just a one and done. I bought a rod, and I used it for a while, and then I bought a different brand. So it's a good way of keeping people like as a returning customer. So
100%.
Now I did have a question. I'm sorry, Brad. Go ahead.
Oh no, you can go ahead.
All right. So also for those who don't know that there's two versions of the app itself. You can download the free version, and also there's a paid version, like a premium version. You care to elaborate on that?
I would love to. So there's actually one version of the app, but there is a premium offering inside.
Okay.
Just to clarify. So I want to be very, very clear right from the get-go. The app is fully functional without premium. It's not one of those apps where you get like half the crap and then you got to keep going by paying the extra. That's not the case at all. Premium simply allows you to add more insights and more map layers. Mm-hmm. So premium, it used to be called Premium Maps, but we've added a few other things, which I'll touch on. But there's 14 different map layers. So you can view USGS gauges by turning on the map layer and view all of the gauges across the country. If you zoom out, it makes the whole America look orange. You can view all of that data. You can do wind forecasts. You can do weather, like live weather radar as it moves through. You can do contour lines on the Great Lakes. You can do contour lines on intercoastal waters. You can do paper contours, USGS paper contours. We're looking at adding a different company to provide that freshwater contour. I'm not going to say which one, but that could very well happen in the near future as well. There's a ton of maps in there. So it's basically premium is a way for you to enhance how you use Angler. It also allows you to do GPX exportation. So right now we can import for free. So if you have your Humminbird unit and you plug an SD card into it and you export your waypoints, you can take them over to your computer. It's a fairly simple process. You can dump them into the ANGLR web app, and then they'll appear on your phone. So it's kind of a good way to save your waypoints. And then with Premium, you can also do export. So let's say I just got a brand new unit for my rig. I want all my waypoints that I have in ANGLR on that, so I know where to go the next time I hit the water. I can export from ANGLR to an SD card, plug it in. I have all of those waypoints on my graph.
Jeez.
Oh, dude, I have used that function so many times. I have 6 backups of all my waypoints.
Wow.
6 backups.
I don't want to lose it ever.
I don't know if I don't really save my waypoints on the river.
Scary.
That's because you go to the same spot all the time, Brad. You don't need to save it.
Well, I don't. I fish a lot of different stretches all the time.
Rivers are a little bit different, though. You got to think of it this way: like a river, usually, and especially for us, because we fish overall skinny water. Like even our big river is still small. So, and when you fish for smallmouth in a river, you're usually fishing a spot within the spot also. Yeah. So it's like a specific, 50-yard stretch or something real weird like that, so you'll never forget it, kind of deal. Like it'll be hard for you to forget. And the fact that we go and hit those same rivers so frequently that it's always going to be there.
It's not a big part. See,
the weather data is probably what is the most kind of effective thing for you as a river angler,
Right. Yeah, and and being able to pull up with, back to Premium, you can pull up a USGS gauge that's, right around where you're going to be fishing. You tap on it with that Premium Maps, it'll tell you all of your flow data, your chart data that, river fishermen care about, because you got to be careful out there.
Yeah.
The reason that I have so many backups is because in college I was blessed to be able to fish for the Penn State team and travel all over the country fishing. So I fished on too many bodies of water to remember, the spot within the spot that I found. Yeah. So if I ever go back there at any point in my life, I want to have at least a starting point.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously on my, my favorite bodies of water, I don't really use waypoints. I just show up and know where to go.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But,
heck yeah. So are you into kayak angling?
It's how I started to get off the bank. I had a kayak for 2 years. Stupid sit-in kayak. This was right whenever kayak bass fishing was just becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Mind you. So I had a stupid sit-in that I bought for $100, and it hurt my back. It sucked, but it was better than standing on the bank. I caught a bunch of fish out of that kayak. And then when I became a freshman in college, I joined the Penn State team, and they said, if you want to travel and fish, you're going to need your own boat. There's no co-angler spots open. So I said, okay, great. I got a boat.
Yeah, I just listened to your that podcast with Bailey that you're on. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I currently have 3 kayaks at my house. That Big Rig I'm going to have to give away. There's also a Kusa HD and a Vibe Kayak Sea Ghost. And I have been playing around in Pittsburgh. Here we have the 3 rivers, obviously. So I've been playing around on them a little bit in the kayaks. I would not, I don't want to offend kayak anglers and say I'm a kayak angler. I am an angler who can kayak.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we are, too. Wait, wait a minute. That's what most of us are anyways. Chad Hoover put it great when he was trying to fix the debate for the Blue Sky, the BSB, and he's like, wait a minute, everybody. We're all anglers first, and we just happen to kayak, so.
Yeah, and that's how I am. I have not gotten into the tournament scene. I've looked at it 1,000 times. I think maybe next year, because right now I'm not mobile enough and comfortable enough in the kayak to where I've watched videos of let's call it Eric Siddiqui out there. There's a million guys out there filming now, and they're reaching for this fish and the kayak's tilted and they get it in the net and they flip back the other way and then they got to board it and I don't want to learn as I go. I want
Yeah.
to get comfortable before I sign myself up because I'm very competitive. And if I've heard the horror stories of I had a 5 that was on the board jump off before I could get a picture, and like
Yeah.
I don't know if I would handle that well.
Oh yeah, I thought the same thing. But
I don't handle it well. I've been known to be like screaming cuss words in the middle of the water, and then look around like everybody's probably like, "Why is this guy screaming at fish?" Like,
there's a mom and a daughter on the bank that's like staring at you, like,
yeah,
what?
like what did he just say? Cover
Sorry.
your ears. Sorry, he jumped off the board. She's like, "What board?" Like, this
What
doesn't
is
make
he
any
talking
sense.
about?
He's yelling
That's
at
awesome.
boards.
Honey, let's go home. This guy's crazy.
Turn and walk away. Oh, that's good. Good stuff. Well, Brad, you got anything else to add?
No, we covered it, man.
All right.
Yeah, no, that was pretty in depth. If anyone has any questions, I don't know how they could, but if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, shoot me an email. There's a million ways to get a hold of me.
Heck yeah. Get used to seeing Derek's face, y'all, if you haven't on Facebook. Especially if you're paddling fin, we're just going to keep pushing it. Boom, boom, boom. So, Derek, appreciate you taking the time to come talk with us, man. Anytime you want to come on the, Final Cast or any of the episodes, man, you're a pretty entertaining dude. Like, the stuff that you're putting out there on Facebook's really, it's funny, it's fun. You guys are doing a great job repping your brand. And, I wish you guys nothing but, future success, man. Keep at it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, just one quick thing. What'd you think of the DIY flogger?
I liked it. That was funny. It was working
was good.
too.
It worked so well. I was so surprised.
It's awesome.
That's good. All right, man. Well, we'll wrap it up.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank
Not
you
a
so
problem.
much for having me on. It was a blast, and definitely have to jump on again at some point and catch up.
Heck
I'm
yeah,
sure
man.
Brian will have you on his show sometime too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Get on the OG show.
The OG.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Well, hey, I appreciate it, guys. Have a good night.
You
All
too,
right.
man.
Thanks. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Everybody, thank you for listening to the final cast, and we'll see you next week. See ya.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_and_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_and_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in Northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. TRC Covers, protect your investment. Catch Products, shout out to Catch Products. Go to catchproducts.com and put the Paddle and Fin logo directly on your catch board. Shout out to Jigmasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com, use promo code PNF20 and save 20% on all your jig and tackle needs.